Let's start with a very specific moment. It's evening. The busy rush of the day is finally over, and everything around you suddenly goes quiet. You're sitting alone in your room, staring at your phone, and that familiar, heavy sensation starts creeping into your chest. It's not just sadness, and it's not anger. It's a hollow, disorienting emptiness. You scroll through social media, but nothing helps. You put on music, but it just sounds like noise. And you're left wondering, why does a breakup feel like a literal part of me has been completely erased? When a relationship ends, we are told to grieve the loss of our partner. We are told to miss them. But the deepest, most terrifying part of heartbreak is a silent identity crisis that almost nobody talks about. The truth is, you didn't just lose them. You lost who you were when you were with them. Today, we're going to look at the hidden psychology of relationship loss. We'll explain how your brain constructs a specialized shared identity during a connection, why losing it triggers a literal identity death, and how you can use simple, science-backed psychological tools to rebuild yourself from the ground up. To understand why this feels so empty, we have to look at how your brain builds your self-image. Your brain doesn't view you as an isolated island. Instead, it is constantly taking things outside of you, like your social status, your roles, and your close relationships, and integrating them directly into your physical sense of self. When you enter a romantic relationship, a fascinating psychological merger happens. Over months or years, your habits, your inside jokes, your routines, and even your daily language blend with your partner. Your brain starts treating this partnership as a fundamental extension of who you are. You are no longer just me. In the eyes of your brain's cognitive mapping, you are we. This shared identity becomes a framework through which you navigate the world. So, when the connection ends, the pain isn't just about losing a person. It is about the sudden violent collapse of that entire cognitive framework. Your brain is suddenly forced to map a world where the we no longer exists, leaving your sense of identity completely fractured. It's why you look in the mirror and literally feel like you don't know the person looking back at you. The romantic relationship constructed a version of yourself that has now completely disappeared. This brings us to a major psychological misunderstanding about heartbreak. When people feel intensely lonely after a breakup, they assume it's because they desperately miss their ex. They think, if I could just talk to them one more time, this pain would go away. But psychology tells us that breakup loneliness is highly deceptive. The reality is, you miss who you were when you were with them, not actually them. You miss a version of you that felt safe, valued, loved, and complete. You missed a version of you that laughed at those specific jokes or had those weekend routines. Because your brain confuses the person with the identity they helped create, you mistake your desire for self-recovery as a desire to get your ex back. This confusion is exactly why so many people get trapped in the toxic loop of checking their ex's last seen status or stalking their social media profiles. You aren't actually looking for updates on their life. You are desperately scanning their digital footprint trying to find a trace of the you that used to exist in their world. It's an attempt to feel less powerless, but it keeps your brain trapped in a state of constant, unresolved grief. But there's an even deeper layer of grief that makes moving forward feel almost impossible. When you lose a partner, you aren't just grieving the past memories you shared. You are grieving a person who doesn't even exist yet. Your future self. From the moment a relationship becomes serious, your brain starts projecting ahead. It creates a mental timeline of your future. The trips you can take, the home you're going to build, the life you were supposed to live together. You invest your hopes, your security, and your dreams into this imagined future. When the relationship ends, that entire future timeline is vaporized in an instant. You are forced to mourn who you were supposed to become. This is why your mind gets hopelessly stuck in the what-if trap. You lie awake at night, replaying old conversations and decisions on loop, try and find a different outcome. Your brain is trying to rewrite history to save that future version of you. But you can't think your way out of a past event, and fighting reality only prolongs your suffering. Because this identity void is so deeply uncomfortable, our natural instinct is to try and fill it as quickly as possible. This is the hidden psychology behind rebound relationships. When someone jumps into a new relationship immediately after a breakup, onlookers often think they are just reckless or shallow. But psychologically, it's a desperate act of identity survival. You aren't actually looking for a new person. You are looking for your old self back. You are trying to find someone, anyone, who can mirror back the version of you that felt whole, loved, and secure. The problem is, you cannot rebuild a stable house on top of a shifting sinkhole. By using another person to artificially patch up your identity crisis, you bypass the necessary, painful process of actually integrating your loss. You don't allow your brain to heal. You just delay the crash. When you refuse to fill the void with distractions, your nervous system often goes into overdrive. You find yourself lying in bed at 3 a.m., completely exhausted, but your mind is racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Why does this happen? Physiologically, your brain treats a major loss of social connection as a physical threat to your survival. Your amygdala sounds the alarm, flooding your body with stress hormones. It keeps you awake because it thinks you are in active danger. And because your threat detection system is highly distorted by exhaustion, your mind will start looking for problems the very second you start feeling calm. It will take your regrets, your mistakes, and your loneliness, and present them to you as absolute proof that you are ruined forever. But you must remember, your 3 a.m. thoughts are not real. They are simply the chemical translation of an exhausted nervous system trying to process a massive shift in its environment. So, how do we heal this? How do we rebuild our identity when the very foundation of who we were has been taken away? It begins with 3 deliberate cognitive shifts. Step 1. The name-it-to-tame-it reset. First, you must interrupt the emotional panic loops. When that overwhelming wave of breakup anxiety or emptiness hits your chest, do not try to solve your life. Do not scroll your phone or text your ex. Instead, pause, take a deep breath, and silently or out loud, name the exact emotion. Say, I am feeling a deep sense of identity panic right now. I am feeling intense loneliness. Do not analyze it, and do not try to force positive thoughts. The moment you label the emotion, your brain shifts control from its reactive, emotional center to its logical, thinking center. You step out of the storm and begin observing it safely from inside the house. Step 2. Accept reality. Second, you must stop resisting the pain of the transition. Pain is an inevitable part of losing a shared identity, but prolonged suffering is entirely optional. Suffering happens when you fight reality, when you waste your cognitive energy wishing things were different, replaying past choices, or begging for closure. Accept that the we timeline has ended. The moment you stop fighting what is, you free up the mental energy needed to start building what comes next. Step 3. Rebuild with micro wins. Finally, do not try to reinvent your entire life overnight. When you are mentally and emotionally exhausted, major goals will only paralyze you. Instead, leverage the power of the micro-win dopamine hit. Your brain does not release happiness chemicals only when you reach major milestones. It releases them during consistent, tiny steps of progress. Today, pick one ridiculously small action that takes less than 15 seconds. Drink a glass of water. Straighten your posture. Write down one single thing you want to do today. Do it and check it off. Each tiny action signals to your brain that you are moving forward. It triggers a small release of dopamine, which lowers your stress hormones, restores your focus, and slowly rebuilds your self-trust. Let's wrap this up with an uncomfortable, liberating truth. You don't actually move on from a major loss. The idea that you can just erase a chapter of your life and go back to exactly who you were before is a psychological myth. You don't move on. You move forward with it integrated inside you. The version of you that existed in that relationship is gone, and that is a real loss to mourn. But your capacity to grow, to learn, and to construct a completely new, stronger identity cannot be taken away. You are not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience. The shared self is gone, but the builder of that self is still right here, and you are ready to start building again